what's up? It's Sean Baligian.
What up? This is Joique Bell here on the Baligian and Bell Show.
Make sure you check us out on the Woodward Sports Network. What is up? It is the Baligian Bell Show on a Wednesday. You know what? I'm at that point in time of the year. Right, it's a Wednesday. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's not just a Wednesday.
Let's start it over. We got to do it.
3, 2, 1.
Mics are hot.
Hey, what's going on? It's the Baligian and Bell Show. Glad you could join us. He's Joique Bell. I'm Sean Baligian, and it's a...
What up, though, Wednesdays? Boss up.
There you go.
So,
I got to show you this. Can I do a little?
I see that.
Can I do a little of this?
I see that. I see it.
It was amazing because I say this all the time. We hockey fans, we're used to being like the redheaded stepchild, and that's okay. I think that's what makes hockey fans so passionate, okay? Joique, it was amazing to me to see so many people talking about USA last night. USA. And winning the gold medal at the World Junior Championship. And I have an analogy for all you guys out there that don't know what happened or don't understand the significance of it. I thought of a perfect analogy for you, Joique Bell.
What's up?
And maybe the rest of you to explain, if you didn't understand like the significance of the win last night, but to explain exactly how big of a win it was. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the World Junior Championship, which to me is the best hockey you'll see all year. Yes, even better than the Stanley Cup playoffs, I mean that, concluded last night, and the United States of America won the gold medal, beating Canada in the gold medal game 2-0 in their own country, I might add, in their own backyard. Now, Joique, what was significant about this and why so many people were talking it up, to give you an analogy that I think you will understand. Think of a 53-man roster in the National Football League.
Right.
It was 53 when you were playing, right?
Right.
Okay, 53-man roster. You're getting ready to play the Green Bay Packers. One game, winner take all. One game against the Green Bay Packers, against arguably your most hated rival. For me, it's the Bears. Mm-hmm. I'll just say the Packers for you, okay? Right. And when you're getting ready to take them on, at Lambeau Field nonetheless, at Lambeau, you're facing a team that out of their 53-man roster, 42 players were taken in the first round. 42 of 53 men are first-round picks. That's what happened last night. 20 of the 25 guys on that Team Canada squad are first-round picks.
Seriously.
80% of their roster were first-round picks. That's how sick that was last night. It was...
That's
nobody
amazing.
expected it. Nobody expected it. So it was, as you're watching the game.
How many did we have for the U.S.?
Oh, gosh. Right off the top of my head, I think there were 5. I don't remember. Whatever. Not that many. I mean, it was a good team. But compared to that was being talked about as one of the greatest junior teams of all time. You know? Mm-hmm. 20 of 25 were first-round picks.
All it takes is one.
You got it. One night. One game, that's all it takes. Play the game of your life. That's exactly what happened last night. I mean, it's sick. And I think, you know, hey, look, anytime the USA wins, I think you're going to have people jump in going, USA, all of that. But for the people that are fans of it, you're just sitting there going, how the hell did that happen? So that's why you got a lot of people doing this today. You got a lot of people doing this today. But that's how significant it was. It really was.
Especially for you.
Yeah, it was.
You're the biggest hockey fan I've met.
Well,
outside of probably one other person.
Okay. It was funny. Darren was in here yesterday, McCarty, and you know Darren, Leamington, Ontario, proud Canadian kid and everything, and we were talking about it, and Darren said to me, Darren goes, Canada should win tonight. And I go, absolutely they should. But it's exactly what you said. And you guys know it better than anybody. For a guy like me, it's just words. Man, one game anything can happen, okay? You guys have lived it. You guys have been in that position before where, okay, you go into a game, you're a heavy underdog, everybody thinks you're going to lose. You find a way to win that game, and, the whole shock the world thing, right? And that's what Darren said to me. Darren said to me standing right here yesterday. He goes, man, one game, anything can happen. I mean, and that's exactly what we saw yesterday. So it was off the hook.
Part of my USA team.
Yep, that's exactly.
I didn't know they had 20 first rounders.
20 of the 25 kids on Canada are first round picks. Think about that.
Damn.
I got nothing, man. I mean, the funny thing about it is, you're playing on your home rink. You're playing in Edmonton. You're at home. Now granted, one factor is you didn't have 20,000 people screaming and yelling and losing their crap while you're there. So, did that play into Team USA's factor? I'm sure it did.
It did, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like it takes away that home field advantage. Any sport right now. You don't have the fans because honestly, that's kind of what helps change the momentum of the game. When you get the crowd back into the game, and it's that energy factor.
You did it. Yeah. I watched you do it. I in that game against Dallas. I remember that plain as day. I mean,
you remember that?
Plain as day. I was in the press box. I'm telling you, you hear the term temperature in the room a lot, right? Yeah. Okay? The temperature in the room went like that. Like, after you got all hyped like that, tell everybody, you lived the play. I mean, I'm sure as soon as he tells the story, you'll all remember it. But I remember. They actually called me, and we talked about that game, the comeback. And that's probably one of the greatest comebacks that I've had, one of them. I say the greatest comeback, but we lost that game, was the Titans. That would have been it was insane. It was insane.
But the Dallas Cowboy game, when we came back, we won that. I think we were down by 3 scores. And the temperature in the room, it was -0.
Yeah.
Right. It was -0. So it was. I knew that in order for us to come back, we had to get the crowd back into the game. And I'm not really even a cutback player, but it was a play where they blitzed off the front side. I cut it back. I got about a 15-yard run, and it was like at our 30, so I got down to about like the 15 or 12. And I kind of put my hand to my ear after that run, and you can hear the crowd roar. Like they got back into the game. We went down. I think I ended up scoring on that drive. Ended up scoring. And then came back, somebody else scored, and then we got the ball down with the pass to Calvin down at the 1. They thought he scored. Stafford's yelling at Riley. Riley's on the bench. He think we scored a touchdown. He think we're kicking a field goal. We're yelling at Riley on the sideline, get out there. You see Riley with a full-out sprint back to the O-line. He's calling Spike. He goes to Spike and just dives over the top, and he scores a touchdown, right? They replayed it because they thought he didn't get in. No one knew he was going to jump in the end zone. No one knew he was going to dive over the top. That was all Matthew Stafford. That was like he saw them kind of relax, and you can never be relaxed in that type of situation, and he took advantage of it. They replayed it. If they were to say there wasn't a touchdown, it was going to be a 10-second runoff, leaving us with 3 seconds with a running clock to run a play.
Yep.
So, and so what happened was they gave him another play. The next play was actually to me at the 1-yard line, a dive right up the middle, and we had to be on the ball lined up. We were on the ball lined up, ready to run the play as soon as they, long story short, they ended up giving us a touchdown. We didn't have to run the play, so we kept that in the arsenal.
You cannot tell me that crap doesn't matter in a game.
It matters.
I've seen it far too many times, and it's funny because I think even what happens is you get jaded fans, right? That stuff doesn't make a difference to professionals. Listen to the professionals.
It makes a difference. 18 seconds left in the game, down 2 scores. 18 seconds left, and we're in overtime.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So that kind of stuff matters. It's funny because before the show started, and obviously we'll get, your thoughts on that if you have any thoughts on that, it was just a phenomenal game last night. I mean, total props to USA. Joique, the United States did something that so many people thought was crazy, going back about 18 years ago now. They came up with this thing called the United States National Team Development Program, right? The USNTDP.
Right.
And it's based out in Plymouth where, basically you take the best players that you can get, that are 16, 17 years old, and everybody lives out there and they play together and they grow up together in Plymouth at USA Hockey Arena. And you know what's funny? Everybody 17, 18 years ago was saying, what are those crazy Americans doing? What the heck are they doing? And you know what? Now so many countries around the world are following what they've done because they've had so much success developing players and now winning gold medals,
Right.
I mean, it's incredible.
When did they start this?
2002, I think, was when they ended up out in Ann Arbor. And I think that was it. Boy, oh boy. And then they moved to Plymouth in 2015. So they've been out in Plymouth at USA Hockey Arena. It used to be CompuWare Arena. And so, you got a bunch of kids from all over the country. 16, 17-year-old kids that live out there.
So we're trying to get our Russian 5? That's what we're trying
right?
to do?
I mean, that's exactly it. They live, and it's funny that you bring that up because that's what they did back in Russia back in the day, except that was year-round. But these kids go to school out here. They go to one of the schools out in the area. For 2 years of their life, they come live out here. And then, they either go straight to the NHL or go to the college team, play college or whatever, or play in what's called the United States Hockey League. It's phenomenal how it's worked out. You guys were having an argument about AA, Amir Abdullah. I want to continue that conversation because I'll tell you, one of the things that's really cool about working here is I almost wish that we had a behind-the-scenes cam because sometimes we have really dumb arguments that start. Trust me,
We have it. It's right there on the couch, but Fish isn't in here recording. Where's Fish?
You know what? That'd have been great. Yeah, where is Fish? That's the cry goes out. Where's Fish? Poor Fish does 80 things at once. No, but you know what? Art and Joique, I want you guys to have the discussion that you had literally 10 seconds before we went on the air. And poor Kennedy, who I refer to as Young Kennedy sitting there going 15 seconds, 10 seconds, shut up, your mics are going on, and Art and Joique are going back and forth at each other.
Yeah.
So talk to me. What's up?
All right, first off, the mics, they're supposed to go hot at 5 seconds. He turned the mics hot at 10 seconds. So I'm trying to get my last words out.
Early is on time.
Hold on, I'm still talking. And so I don't think he heard me talking. That's why he was. So the mics are supposed to go hot. But, this is his first full week doing it. So he's a rookie. So
you're proud of me, right?
Yeah, I'm proud of you. He's horrible. He's really terrible. But yeah, man, I need you to turn the mics on 5 seconds before, not 10
Listen,
seconds.
it's a learning. I'm learning as we go, and early is on time is late, and late is unacceptable.
For sure.
Okay? So that's how I feel. I'm sorry that I didn't turn them on at exact time. You showed up early, though, so I'll give you credit. You were here early.
Thanks, Six.
Let's a round of applause. Round of applause. I mean, you showed up at like 10:40. That's crazy.
Question, how many times have I been late?
Early is on time.
Here we go.
How many times have I been late?
Here we go.
How many times have I been
Here
Kennedy?
we go.
How many times have I been late to work?
Not once.
But do you understand that you give Kennedy an anxiety
Answer
attack?
that question.
Not once.
Not once.
Not once.
All right, how many times have I been late to work?
Showing up 2 minutes
Yes or
before
no?
is showing up late.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. I'm prepping for the show in the booth before I come in here.
Okay, so let me bring a scenario. You're supposed to be here at 11 o'clock.
Funny? You know what's funny?
You show
Let's
up
talk about work then. Since we're on this topic, let's talk about work. Let's talk about it. New Year's Eve, I come in here, right, for our Call of Duty battle. Come in here, and nothing is set up.
What do you mean it was set up at home?
Nothing was set up.
We had an agreement that you were going to play at home and I was going to play at home.
I'm sorry, Christmas Eve.
Here we go.
Oh, okay. But it was all set up
Nothing
by the
was set
time.
up.
You did not bring your camera. You're talking about stuff in the past.
Unprofessional.
Can we talk about New Year's Eve, how you lost?
You have a world-class talent coming in for you, and you don't have anything set up.
I'm so done with this
I'm
ego.
appalled.
This ego. I'm giving you props for being
Adam,
here 20 minutes
Adam,
early.
What up?
Adam, I need you to talk to your guy. I need you to get him on point. I need you to get him. Put the camera on. Adam, this is the guy that's usually back here. He's the brains of the operation. And when he's not here, it doesn't go smoothly.
Oh, jeez. Now we're kissing Adam's ass more and more.
He's not wrong.
I'm not wrong.
All right, what's Art talking out of his ass?
I love the back and forth between these two because
you know what?
Here's the thing.
Grammy Whammy, he has it coming.
It's real.
Grammy Whammy, he has it coming. Grammy Whammy.
Grammy Whammy, it's real.
You know,
they just twisted each other and like we're getting ready to go and like, young Kennedy's sitting there going, guys, 10 seconds, fine. Shut up, we're going on mic. And they're just going back and forth at each other. Yeah. And then, like, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna bring up something we can all agree in.
USA.
Yeah, right?
USA.
Maybe we can all agree on that today. And then immediately I had to go right back to the worm. I go right back to the can of worms, and here we go. These two
Joique started it because he started doing the Blade Icewood.
Joique started it. Shut up.
This all started with me complimenting you for being here 20 minutes early. And look at you.
I don't need compliments.
Oh, my God.
I'm confident in myself. I don't need compliments. What Drake said,
oh, shoot, when Grammy Whammy is brought in, it gets real.
We can't bring grandmas into it.
You know what, though? Because my grandma called me.
Didn't you see that message? Did you see
Yeah,
that
because he was disrespectful. His own grandma was like, you need to calm down on Art. He's a great guy. He seems like he's got a great personality.
She wasn't doing it for his sake. She was doing it because she didn't want me to ruin my reputation. Because I'm known as a nice guy. I'm known as a nice guy.
Oh my goodness, this is the best part of my day. I love you guys.
Listen, I think Joique is just, he wants to be friends with me so bad that it's like, in kindergarten where you pick on somebody even though you really like them. That's what he's doing right
like the
now.
crush thing?
Yeah, like he's got a man crush. I'm a beautiful man. I'm a good looking, I produced a lot of kids.
Grandma, he got a Grammy Whammy.
Can we get to the Blade Icewood situation, though?
Right, yeah.
And the disrespect?
No, it wasn't disrespect.
It was totally disrespectful.
It wasn't disrespect. It was all love.
If you're playing on Detroit, sure,
it's
but he's
love.
no longer playing. He's playing for a different
it's all
team.
Love. That's one thing about him. Once you from Detroit, once you come play here and your heart was here, he didn't leave here because he wanted to.
By the way, Grammy Whammy said, I love you, Art.
Aww.
Isn't that nice?
Thank you, Grammy Whammy. I love you too.
Hey,
give
Grammy
Joique a
Whammy,
stern
man.
talking to, though. His disrespect, it hurts me. I can't
Grandma,
sleep at night.
whenever he calls me disrespectful, it's a smack in your face because you raised me.
Oh, don't go. Oh. You stop it. You stop it, Joique. Stop
Just so you know that.
See, this is showing up early, Joique. I don't like. Show up late for now on, please.
I won that one. Kenny, I get that one.
It's like Doctor Strange. The Ancient One hit my soul out of my body. My soul just, that's soul sucking, man. You dropped that. That's soul sucking. All right, so let's get to this. Let's get
to it.
All right.
What is Double A coming on the show next week?
Are we having Amir on? Oh. Amir Abdul? You were thinking another Double A, weren't you? You were thinking Andreas Athanasiou. Yeah, Amir Abdullah, right?
Amir Abdullah.
Great guy, by the way.
Right, yeah, my guy.
He really is. He's a great dude.
Came in the league. He was very professional.
He's not next week.
Okay. We'll figure that out. All right, so let's give the backstory. All right, Art, I'm gonna try to be the moderator here. I'm gonna give you your time. It's almost like a presidential debate with you.
I
two,
appreciate
okay?
you. Yeah, thank you.
All right, so Art, you tell everybody your side of the story. What Amir did and why you felt it was disrespectful.
So Amir scored a touchdown. Obviously, he celebrates by doing the legendary Blade Icewood dance. If you don't know Blade Icewood, you're not Detroit, and you need to do your research, okay? Right. My side of it was, and I actually asked Corey, I said, Corey, is that a sign of disrespect? He said, it's totally a diss, because you no longer are wearing the blue. You're no longer, a team player in Detroit. You're playing for a different team, and then you do that. That was so disrespectful, especially when, see, this is why I can't.
Bell?
Thank you. Baligian for president. I'm telling you right there. That's the disrespect I'm talking about,
Man,
okay? But regardless, I feel like it was a blatant sign of disrespect. I feel like if you're playing for any Detroit team, go ahead and do it. But when you're not and you're outside of the view,
I'm on the air right now. I gotta
dare
call
you?
Back.
How dare you? How do you sleep at night? How dare you? You know what, Joique? I will give you your time to talk now. I will allow that.
Mr.
my
Hart, your
bad.
time is up. Mr. Bell,
My bad. I had a business call. My bad.
I will ask Mr. Art to give you your time now.
First of all, you have a guy that's drafted second round to the Detroit Lions. Gave his all, went through some injuries, and was let go with the new regime, who let go of a lot of people, let go of me. All right? And I want this to be clear. I didn't see a player on Detroit Lions doing the Blade Icewood dance until I started doing it. And if I'm wrong, you let me know if I'm wrong.
I'm going to do some research.
Yeah, do some research, because I think I was the first person, Chicago Bears, go-ahead touchdown, the first go-ahead touchdown by a running back since I can't remember who. Might have been Kevin Jones, I think. And I did the boss up dance in Chicago, and that was like whenever it was away. That was kind of my dance for away games when I scored a touchdown. For the home games, it was a Detroit Wave. And so I think Amir, came back and when he did, they was like, I still got love for Detroit when he did. It wasn't a disrespect. And he even said it was all love on social media when I said, look, I said, you hitting the boss up. I said, you hitting the boss up. He says, all love, bro. Mm-hmm. And I said, I know it's all love. But, people like Art, they don't know that. They don't see that, right? They get their own concept, their own perception. And it's kind of like you didn't know what Jackrabbit was until you talked to him yesterday. Mm-hmm. And so he didn't know what was in Double-A head when he did that. I do, though.
Unlike Joique, I will retract my statement and my opinion, and I will man up. And I'm early, not on time. I'm early with saying this.
Don't give
I will apologize.
Don't do no backhanded retracting.
I'm retracting as a man. I'm stepping back and say I'm not best friends with the guy. I couldn't text him and say, "Hey, was that disrespect?"
It wasn't. I didn't text him. It was on social media.
Okay,
you can hit him up on social media.
I don't have a blue check mark. Okay, so I can't talk to him. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you can talk to him. He just might not talk back.
Well, he's not going to talk back to me.
Nobody wants to talk back to you.
You won't talk back to me in Call of Duty. Now let's move on to the next topic.
Yeah, plunder.
All right, so no.
See me on plunder.
Let me say this. Let me say this. Okay, now because this is the fun thing about doing this show and having these cast of characters, because it opens up other things. Like we're planning to do this, that, and the other thing. But this is a good question for everybody out there. Do you find that stuff disrespectful? Or is it part of the game? Because I hear fans talk about disrespect all the time. I'm going to give you an example, and this is going back years. Remember Terrell Davis did the whole mile-high salute thing?
Yeah.
He'd score a touchdown, and he did a mile-high salute. Well, what started to happen, and I saw it, Jaromir Jagr used to do it in hockey as well. He would do his own salute. Well, what would happen if somebody lit him up, right? If somebody lit up Terrell Davis, or I remember this happened in a particular hockey series against Jaromir Jagr. He gets lit up. He's a crumpled mess along the boards, and the guy did one of these. I don't have a problem with that. I'm sorry. I mean, to me, that's like, okay, if you want to make it about you, because let's be honest, in that moment, you're making it about you. Some people have a problem with that. I say, you go.
Well, but that's where the line of like unsportsmanlike conduct, or showing off, where it becomes a thing. I'm not saying in that instance. I'm just saying that I feel like the touchdown celebration dances bring all of them back.
Great.
Bring everything back.
Drop the whole no fun league crap.
Right.
Let's go.
It's strictly business.
White shoes, John.
Yeah.
I want Billy White shoes.
I want
Billy
all
White
of it.
shoes.
I want,
But look at what Bell doing this celebration and going back and forth like this. Now it seems like that would be so frowned upon.
It's fun. It's fun, and it's getting people into it. But here's the thing. When you do that, you have to accept that if Joique goes to the hole on a 4th and 1 and gets absolutely blown up,
right,
there's an even money chance that some dickhead from the Chicago Bears is going to go like this to Joique.
Yep.
I mean, you know that better than anybody. Now, would you take that as disrespect, or would you just go, all right, next time I'm going to get mine?
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. And then it was kind of cool though. So that dance, right? So I won't call it a dance, but that celebration, like players would come to me on the opposing team after the game and say, "That's the dopest celebration I've seen. I've never seen anything like that." And it was so dope, not because it was about me, but from just in unison. The Detroit fans from the first level to the third level, from end zone, from sideline to sideline, in the back of that end zone, are all doing it with me. And that what made it so dope. And I'm still mad at Fox for not getting that picture, that video. Oh.
Yeah. No, listen, and we're getting a lot of
who's over the
opinions out there.
cameras?
And of course, Art, I got to be honest with you. A lot of people are saying that's a millennial thing. It's too soft and everything. I don't mind it. I got to be honest with you. I don't like. Again, you have to understand. The one thing that I think sometimes people forget is when you're playing sports, you've poured your life and your soul into doing this, and so therefore it's going to become emotional. And sometimes emotions are going to get the best of you, okay? Like the guy that blows you up in the hole and then does this, Joique, my guess is 5 seconds later he's going to go, I shouldn't have done that.
But I feel like there's a limit to it too, though.
Think so?
No.
I feel like T.O. going into the middle of the field on the opposing. That's different.
There's
a
disrespect.
That is
going all the way
such
out the way.
disrespect.
1,000%.
You're going out of your way.
But Joique doing a dance like that, I don't think he could get away with it nowadays because everybody is so PC culture of like, we don't want to offend anyone. You don't want to make the other team mad. Then what is sports about? Like, I want that dude to score a touchdown and do whatever dance
You know what?
he
You know what it
wants.
was though. So Coach Sports almost told me to stop doing that dance, right? So because you didn't want to get a penalty. Because I think this is around the time when T.O. was hopping in the stands and he was directing the orchestra. And so he got flagged for that. So me getting the crowd doing that, he thought. But I said, when I did it the very first time, it was so organic. I didn't have that plan. It just felt like the right thing to do, and it just happened. When I came back to even Reggie was mad at me. Reggie was like, don't do that. You're going to get a flag. People watching, da-da-da-da. I'm like, shut up.
And
I'm like, I'm going to keep doing it.
I want to get, Art, I'm serious when I say this. I want to get your back here for a second, okay? Because I think
You
what
hear that,
happens
Joique?
is...
What?
Do you hear that? He's got my back.
Hear me out. To all the people that are hammering Art for being the quote-unquote millennial and all that stuff, okay, I get that. That's the easy thing.
Thanks, Steven.
But my generation, let's remember, okay, how many people talked up Barry Sanders? That's the way you celebrate. No celebrate.
That's old people.
People, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
it really is.
It's not a millennial thing.
It used to be that. And it's not a millennial thing. Millennials, we don't care. We don't care about that. But that's more of the old school way because usually people that are more wise, older, that's the best term I can use, they're usually stuck in their ways.
Yep.
Usually stuck in their ways. So the way that things were at one point in time and it worked for them, that's how they feel everything should work. Now you have some more open-minded people who feel like change is good, right? Change is good. And I think the change that's happening in the NFL is good.
Amen.
It makes it more fun. And what people are now realizing is that these kids that were 2 and 3 are now 15, 16, and these are the people that's watching football, and these are the people that we have to bring into the game to say, wow, I like this player, I like this person. Fantasy football, I like this person. Now they're watching more football, and I think this is what we have to do in order to attract more people to this sport.
Well, and I think that, too, it comes down to some of my favorite players like Ocho Cinco and, OBJ. Like, the players that they score that touchdown and it's on. Like, it's the celebration. And, like, my personal favorite sport is MMA. And I love the fighters that talk trash because you know what? When they get in the ring, they get in the octagon, they're going to prove that. And it's selling the show. It's selling that experience. You look at sports now, NASCAR, you can't hit that much. NHL, they put restrictions on that too. And you just look at all these sports where you're taking away the celebration and the endurance and the competition of the sport to where it's like, oh, we don't want to offend anyone. I think that's total bullshit.
You know what? And Sean brought this up. Sean, who, by the way, spells his name the right way. Sean said, what you're talking about, that's old school, pre-2000s. And you know what? It was bad thinking back then because Billy White Shoes Johnson, it was great. People loved it. And I remember there was this guy that played for the Cowboys named Butch Johnson that did this California Quake thing and act like he was shooting his guns and all that. That stuff was great.
Yeah.
But, you heard a lot of people because Barry was our guy. That's how you celebrate. Give the referee the football. Don't make it about yourself. And it's like, no, man, it's an emotional game. Wouldn't that be great if we could turn ourselves into robots?
Yeah,
How did it start for you, Joique? I mean, did you think to yourself, I'm going to jump up and go, hey, ho?
No.
It's spontaneity.
No. So, you have some people who plan their celebrations out.
Sure.
Like, it was one time I had a dope celebration that I wanted to do. I never got around to doing it because for whenever I scored at home, that was my routine. But I didn't score, I think, my last game, but I had the dopest celebration. I had it, but I'm going to give it to my nephew. I'm going to let my nephew use it once he make it to the league. So I'm going to give it to him. But it was dope. It was dope. But no, my hey-ho was totally organic. Didn't think about it. I thought I was just going to jump in the stands and celebrate with the fans, and that was it. And it just came over me, and I just did it. And
is that one of your greatest moments? Like, when you look back at your career, I mean, that's what I remember you for. Right. Obviously, your great plays, but, like, that moment has to be in your memory forever. It's just like a pinnacle moment.
I can't even tell you what game I started doing.
It's turned into a pretty cool GIF. You've seen the GIF, right?
Yeah, so for instance, I'm at a Lil Wayne concert, and I'm in my section with my teammates and our people, and I see, like, people in the crowd looking up, hey. It's
that's
like a whole row of people doing it. I'm like, dang, people are really catching on to it. Right? It's kind of dope. And so that's when I realized, like, okay, I got something here. Like, this is my thing. And so it ended up catching on, and it got to a point to where the people that was over the sound system, whenever I scored, they'll just start playing Naughty by Nature.
That's dope.
Every time. So,
the greatest moments are the unplanned ones.
Yep.
They really are.
Kevin said Barry's celebration was great and unique. Yeah, I'm not dissing it. Do what you need to do. Celebrate. You know, and it's funny. I saw Kennedy. I'd go full Happy Gilmore. For my hockey friends out there, I love Don Cherry. Don Cherry's great. I don't care what anybody says, okay? I don't agree with him on everything, but he's been such a great spokesman for the game. He was one of those old school guys, Joique and Art, if you didn't know this. He would get flat out pissed at guys celebrating. Like Alexander Ovechkin, who's one of the best goal scorers ever. He'd go, "Oh, this is disgusting. You kids out there, watch this. This is not how you do it. Act like you've been there before. It's the Canadian way." He'd go into, and it's like,
hold on, do the voice again.
No, that's not how you do it.
Do the voice again.
Kids out there, listen. Benton Harbor makes some tough ones, and they don't come tougher than Joique Bell, I tell you. Put her there, Joke, old boy. That's Don Cherry, right? He does that crap, and it's like I would scream at the television. It's like Alexander Ovechkin is great for the game. He has a passion for the game. He's smiling. He's happy. His teammates are celebrating. What the heck is wrong with that?
I can't with him, man. I can't with him.
That guy's a hot dog, and we don't have any time for that. Put her there, Joique boy. I'm so done with it. So anyway,
hey, we're gonna have a show sometime in the near future where the whole time he's gonna talk just like that.
Yeah, Don Cherry. I'll do the whole show. The whole. Len said, "Good impersonation of Don." Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's. I've been working on that one for about 40 years.
No, I don't remember this. No, you remember this? That remember when the Lions got? This is Joe, spelled Joe, the right way. Remember when the Lions got flagged for a sepsis celebration for jumping into the crowd? Then the official said that Lambeau Leap was grandfathered in. Was you around for that? Did you hear about that? I don't remember that.
I don't remember. Do you guys remember that? I'll take your word for it. I don't remember.
I don't remember it.
I don't know. It's fun. I mean, listen, I hated the Lambeau Leap, but you know what? Because it meant that Green Bay scored touchdowns.
You made Grammy Whammy laugh. So.
Oh, good. Thanks, Grammy Whammy.
Yeah.
No, you know what? It is just whatever. I don't get wrapped up in stuff like that. All right, so what T.O. did is disrespectful.
Yeah,
right?
but T.O.
But T.O. we can all agree on that.
To go out your way to go step on the team's logo is in the middle of the field is disrespectful after a touchdown.
All right, let me give you another one. Everybody talks about Derrick Henry, how he steals souls. I mean, he does.
Yeah.
The man, he steals souls every other week.
He's disrespectful.
What's that?
He's disrespectful.
Okay, see, I was going to ask you that because, if you just make the play.
It's a good disrespectful.
If you just make the play, that's one thing. But if my man then stands over the soulless human being and stuff like that, does that cross into the line of disrespectful?
Not to me.
Not to you?
No. You got man.
Don't get your ass knocked down?
Yeah. Hey, if you don't want to be on your back and get stood over, don't be on your back. Don't be on your back. I mean, I don't. I don't mind it. Now, it's a fine line of standing over a person like on the side and then straddling the person and looking over them and like your crouch, like that's disrespectful, and we're gonna have to we gotta box it out at that point. I mean, we gotta just box it out. But if I run you over and I run out of bounds and you're on the ground and I'm like standing on the side of you, but I'm looking at you as I'm walking away, like don't ever, try to. Different.
Is there a lot of chirping in the NFL? Because I'll tell you, in hockey, it's insane. People don't get how much chirping there is, and I take a mental note. I'll see you again 3-5. Things like that. Are you getting that from guys on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah. So one guy, man, he was really good. It was Davis, from linebacker from Carolina. He was a good guy, but just. He would do some dirty things in the game. Like the ball would be like, say I'm running like a out route over here, and the ball is literally 20 yards down the field on the other side of the field, and we don't have anything to do with the play. And I'm looking at you, he'll just come clean me up. I'm like, bro, this how we playing? Like, this how we playing? He was like, and I called or something. He like, dang, man, why I gotta be that? I'm like, because you dirty. But, I got him back, but I tell you again, do you remember Montel Owens?
Who?
Montel Owens. He used to play running back for the Lions when I was there. It was Montel Owens. He was like a special teams Hall of Famer. Like,
not ringing a bell, I gotta be honest with
you. And then you had George Wynn.
Yeah, of course.
All right, so George. Yeah. So Montel ended up going to Chicago. They released Montel. Montel ended up going to Chicago, right? And then George Wynn, they kept George Wynn on the team. So I felt like there was some animosity because they let him go and kept George. So when we played them, they both were like special team guys. So I remember on a kickoff, we were receiving the ball, and Montel was on the kickoff. He came down. I think they called a fair catch, but no, I think they might have ran, but I think he might have caught it and just kind of downed it in the end zone. But when he did that, Montel came down and cleaned George Wynn, knocked him back about 5 yards in the end zone, right? So we were like, ooh, right? We were like, ooh, okay, this is what we're doing. So again, now we're on punt. All right, we're on punt. No, they're on punt, and we're on punt return. And George is playing the left wing, the left end. I'm sorry. Kicks the ball out, comes down. He's lining Montel Owens up the whole time. He's looking at him the entire time. He's coming down about 20 yards away, full speed. And Montel is just standing there like a deer caught in headlights. Yeah. And he comes down, hits him. Montel flies about 8 yards back in the air. I mean, it was brutal. Falls down, falls on his back, rolls over, and gets up shaking his head. Yeah, you got me. Yeah, you got me. And so, yes, it is that disrespect of getting up and looking at the play, because when he hit George, he kind of looked at him like, yeah, you're gonna feel this the whole game.
You guys aren't dumb. Like athletes aren't dumb. And what I mean by that is if you choose to live your life that way, you're going to get your theirs for you moment. Somebody's going to take a mental note of that, and they're going to get you. You know?
We call it the eye of the tiger.
That's exactly it.
We call it the eye of the tiger. So we go through.
It.
So when I stiff arm Clay Matthews and he pulled my hair, I had the eye of the tiger. I had the eye of the tiger after that.
He apologized right away, right?
Right away. Yeah, it wasn't. I didn't even get up. He was apologizing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I was gonna punk him.
Yeah, sure.
He's no punk, but it's like it's certain things that's disrespectful that shouldn't be in the game. Like I seen a guy pull. The guy from Arizona, right?
Yeah.
So the guy from Arizona. I forgot who they were playing. Ripped the guy's hair, dreads out of his head, and then held it in the air. That's disrespect.
It's like Predator. You know that scene in The Predator where he's sitting up, holding the skull on his head.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see the Predator doing that, man.
For sure.
You don't need that in your life.
Yeah.
Listen, so Art, okay, just to put the finish on this, and I want to get into the Heisman Trophy next, because we had a moment yesterday, Joique, that you didn't even realize that like you said something to me, and I kind of looked at you, and I couldn't tell you yesterday why I was smiling at you, but I'll tell you today.
Okay.
Art, is it safe to say that you've, after this discussion, this fruitful discussion, You've kind of done an about face, and
I'll go back on what I said. Yeah,
Okay.
knowing that Joique is best friends with him and they talk at late nights after 9 o'clock, free nights and weekends, I'll take that back and say, I'm sorry. He can do the Blade Icewood. Who am I to say? I mean, I'm just a fanboy. But yes.
No disrespect.
No disrespect. I will go back.
That's the way you play. That's the Canadian way, oh boy.
What would you like to know, Weather Boy?
So when we come back, want to talk about the Heisman Trophy. Joique brought up a fantastic point about the Heisman Trophy yesterday. I couldn't say anything about it yesterday. I can today. We'll get back to it in just a minute.
Welcome to Grow Green, the green standard for garden supplies here in Michigan over the past 10 years. We offer the best gardening and lawn care products and have an extremely knowledgeable staff to help you create your dream garden or make your yard the envy of the neighborhood. Shop the store located in Whitmore Lake or online at growgreenmi.com. Delivery and curbside pickup available. Grow Green, making Michigan greener one grower at a time.
We wake up every day with a choice. Keep going down the same unfulfilling path or start chasing the life we dream about. At Northwestern Tech, we want to make that choice easier by allowing you to keep working your job while training for a real career in heating and cooling. And our hands-on program is only 10.5 months. So getting in the field and building a career and actually waking up with a purpose could be a lot easier than you think. Northwestern Tech, the HVAC school that works.
All right, welcome back in. Congratulations to DeVonta Smith of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Wins the Heisman Trophy. I can tell you definitively, a lot of people like me definitively voted for him. You brought up a point yesterday, and I don't know if you remember it. That's why I smiled at you.
Yeah.
Because you said, if it's somebody other than DeVonta Smith, why don't we just call it the quarterback
of the year award?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if you remember, I smiled at you.
Yeah.
And the reason I smiled at you is I had a conversation, like each region of the country, it's broken up into 6 regions. And so what happens is a lot of us guys like talk to each other. What are you thinking? You know, make a case for this guy, make a case for that guy. That has been the battle cry this year forever. So it did not surprise me at all that DeVonta Smith ended up winning the Heisman Trophy because, as I said, that's why I smiled at you. That's what everybody's saying. It was like, okay, what are we doing here? Are we giving this award to the best quarterback from one of the best teams out there, or are we giving it to the guy that literally set himself apart? And in my mind, there was no debate, no disrespect against anybody else. No. The only difference in the voting for me is I had Kyle Trask up 1 spot higher, but it was Smith, it was Trevor Lawrence, and to me, Smith was going to win the award, and rightfully so, he did. And I think it was important for the voters to get it right this year, and I think they did.
Yeah, they did. They got it right. And you was talking about the different regions, so it's based off how many votes you get, right? So is each region, does it have the same amount of votes?
Yeah, it's there's now, I think it's 930. I think it's 930 now. So basically what happens is every year, if you win the Heisman Trophy, and I don't know if they do this in D2, do you get a vote for the Harlan Hill? Like, do you get a vote every year for the Harlan Hill? Because every Heisman Trophy, let's say.
I think it's similar. I think they have like different, I think they have some type of board where they have certain coaches in different regions, and then they have to vote.
But do you personally, since you're a former winner, do you get a vote?
No, I don't get a vote.
Yeah, see, they do that with the Heisman. Kennedy wins the Heisman Trophy in 2018. She is a voter until she dies. Chad Johnson wins in 2019. He's a voter until he dies. Art wins in 2020. He's a voter until he dies. So the number keeps going up of votes. I think it's at 925. I think that's what it is right now. But basically in each region, there's a guy that heads the region. And why there's 6, I don't know the answer to that. But there are like 6 different regions in the country. And so you get a phone call from the guy that heads the region. He says, hey, you've been nominated. Are you interested in being a Heisman Trophy voter?
So how many?
Yeah.
How many states are in your region?
It depends. I think there's 10 in one. There's like 14 in another. I forget exactly what it is, but there's just 6 regions of the country, and that's why a lot of times what you see, it won't come out today, come out a few days from now, because that's just the way the news cycle is. you see how votes came down region-wise. You know what I mean? But it's time. Growing up for me, the Heisman Trophy was one of the coolest things in all of sports.
It was.
I still sit here today. There is not an individual trophy that's better than the Heisman Trophy.
It's not. It's not.
I mean, unless you talk about football. You know, soccer. Soccer, if you the Ballon d'Or, the Player of the Year, that's more of a worldwide thing. If you're talking the United States of America, there's the Heisman Trophy and there's everything else. There's nothing that compares to that.
No.
I mean, the way it looks, the history, all of it.
The history.
Unfortunately,
would you say that's better than like NFL MVP?
Absolutely. No question about it. No question about it.
Yeah.
Because you know what I think for the nerds out there? I think we all remember who won the Heisman Trophy in a particular year, but I think we all have to rack our brains to go. Like if you say 1995, who was the NFL MVP? Was it Emmett? Was it Favre? Was it Barry? Where a lot of times, with a Heisman Trophy, you're like, oh, I know who won that year and all that. So in my just one man's opinion, I think that's where it's at. But in recent years, Joique, and you brought this up yesterday, in recent years, the Heisman Trophy has lost a lot of its luster for exactly what you said yesterday.
It was Brett Favre, by the way.
Was it? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
Google.
It helps. Nerd. So that's what it hurts me as somebody who, in some ways, I'm progressive in regards to sports. We have to move forward, and I think college football in particular has to move forward. But in some ways, and this is what makes college football so unique, those traditions are so cool, those old school traditions. And I think, Joique, the Heisman's lost some luster. And that makes me sad because of the point that you brought up yesterday. A lot of people sit back and go, oh, great, we're going to give it to the quarterback on one of the top teams and all that. Yeah. And there's been more validity to that than anybody wants to admit, Yeah,
yes. Because it has lost some of that because when I was coming up, we really have some good quarterbacks, though, like with the Vince Young, and you have the Reggie Bush, you had the Matt Leinart, you had all these guys coming out, and that's my era, all right? And those are two of my college's favorite players. I tell you that all the time. And so for me growing up, I would always imagine what it would feel like to win the Heisman Trophy. Now, I didn't play Division I ball, so I didn't have an opportunity to win it, but I was able to obtain that gold in Division II, which was good. But one thing that is funny that I did not know, that the Harlan Hill Trophy is actually bigger than the Heisman Trophy. I think the Heisman Trophy is like 26 pounds. Mm-hmm. Then the Harlan Hill Trophy is like 63 pounds.
Was it really?
Yeah, it's like 63 pounds, yeah. Like this big, it's like, the trophy's huge.
No kidding.
Yeah. It's
so
like,
were you sitting there like doing squats with it and everything?
No, I set that thing on the table and sat next to it. Set that thing right on the table.
Get yourself a water and let that's
oh my
mine.
God! Can you find a picture of me sitting next to that on my Facebook? Thanks, Art. Appreciate it, Art.
That's great. Look at that. See, peace in our time too. Art and Joique getting along.
I've been condescending, but
I'm going to give you another reason why I think Division II is in some ways more ahead of the curve than Division I is, because we talked about it a couple weeks ago. I don't care what anybody says. Division II gets it right. You have 28 teams get in the playoffs. 4 teams get a bye that first week. You play, you settle things on the field, and then you go from there.
You know why?
It's a brilliant thing.
You know why?
Why?
Because there's not really money involved. There's not as much money involved.
That's 1,000%. You're absolutely right.
It does make sense, but it doesn't. You know the old saying that if it don't make money, it don't make sense.
Yeah.
So D2 is not really about the money, but Division I is more so about the money.
And it's funny you bring that up, because to me, and I know what the NCAA is thinking, we're sitting on a golden egg right now. Why would we want to get off this golden egg? Because it could be more golden eggs. You could sell every one of those games, every one of those quarterfinal games, like bowl games, like you're already doing it. Every one of those games. This is going to be the Peach Bowl. This is going to be the Sugar Bowl. This is going to be, and still have all that money and have that corporate money coming in. It doesn't make sense.
What game would be the national championship game?
You could do it like they do it now. You could rotate it. You could say 1 year it's going to be in Pasadena.
Okay.
1 year it's going to be down at Jerry World. 1 year we're going to have it down in Miami. It'll be the Orange Bowl. Because, that's what they do for the BCS now anyway. I mean, to me, and, all those outside bowls, like, for example, you could have, all right, the second week of December, you could have the third seed, let's say Clemson. Clemson's a third seed. Clemson's taken on the 12th seed. You know what I mean? Texas A&M or Michigan State or whatever. Call that the Motor City Bowl or the Quick Lane Bowl, whatever you want to call it. Have that game being played while 4 or 5 other games are being played around the country. I mean, you can have your cake and eat it too in that regard. And I'll tell you another reason why I think D2 gets it right. What Joique Bell did in 2009 would never happen in Division I. Never. It would never happen. And what I mean by that is a guy that played for a good team. You guys finished 6-5 that year.
Yeah.
You were 6-5. You were clearly the best player in the GLIAC. There's no doubt about that. Okay. You ended up winning the best player for all of D2, the Harlan Hill Award. Okay. Mm-hmm. There is no way in hell, no way that a guy from 6-5 Michigan State, a guy from 6-5 Mississippi State, a guy from 6-5 UCLA is ever going to win the Heisman. No way in hell. I'm here to tell you that is what people say. Period. End of story. Whether you agree with it or not is completely inconsequential. People are always look at, well, what did their team do? Oh, they were 6-5.
Yeah.
Well, I can't.
So you got to
vote
think.
for him.
So and that's why I didn't think I was going to win.
That's a great picture. I'm looking at that picture on the screen right now.
Yeah, it's up on the screen right now.
Look at that.
It's funny because we had a quarterback there that went to, I think, the second or third round of playoffs. He threw for over 5,000 yards. He threw about 49 touchdowns, and then he had multiple receivers over 1,000 yards receiving. And I know, man. Oh my God.
Look at that.
He really picked.
Look at that young man.
Yeah,
look at that strapping
I
young
love it.
lad.
Oh my God! Look how young I look.
That thing's like 63 pounds.
That thing is 63 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And for people who don't know where Harlan Hill is, played Division II, got drafted to the NFL, got Rookie of the Year, ended up passing after I won the award, so I was able to go down there, and he set up shop in Florence. Was that Florence or no?
Yeah, I think that was down in Florence, right? Didn't they have it at the spot
it
of
was
the
in Florence.
championship
It was in
game?
Florence,
That's
yeah.
when it used to be in Florence. Yeah.
Now where's it now? Where's it now?
Somewhere in Texas, right? It went to Kansas for a few years, and then I think it's somewhere down in Texas now, where the championship game is.
Okay.
Yeah, because Florence had it for like 30 years,
Yeah.
and then it moved to Kansas, and I think it's down in Texas now,
Okay.
where the championship
Probably
is.
after he passed.
Yeah, by the way, Darren McCarty says that Art's number one. I had to point that out. I saw that on our
Wait,
Facebook
can you
stream.
repeat that? What did he say?
Darren McCarty said that you're number one. You have to see the.
I'm still waiting on free lunch from Darren McCarty, but
Well, you're
that's
gonna
okay.
get free lunch in a second. I
That
see
is
some
true.
guys
Heyo.
hiding back there. So
He gave you number one, but it's not the number one you want.
it's not the number one you want. It's not. But like seriously, Joique, there's no way in Hades voters are ever going to make a guy from a 6-5 team
No.
the Heisman Trophy winner. It's
and
never going to happen.
and I don't know. Has that happened in Division II? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, I'll put it to you
We
this
didn't
way.
make the playoffs.
There are, look, believe it or not, there are people, I'm on the younger side as a Heisman Trophy voter, okay? There are a lot of people that think like me, the younger generation, that all these, to me, it's the best effing player, right? I don't care if he plays for a 3-9 team, okay? If that dude stands out, that's who I'm voting for. You know what I mean? Now, chances are, more often than not, that's not going to be the case. But if there was a Joique Bell from 6-5 UCLA.
Michigan, okay.
Yeah, if I think you're the best player, I'm going to vote for you, period, end of story. And I've seen that happen. There were a few times. I'm convinced that there was a conspiracy against Tim Tebow for winning his second. I'm convinced. I don't care what anybody says. I think the old school guys said, well, there's a reason that only one guy has won this award twice. Archie Griffin from Ohio State. Tim Tebow was the best player in college football. You can say whatever you want about Tim Tebow, the pro. I get it. It didn't work. You can pick on him for whatever reason you want for his beliefs, some of the things he said, anything. Tim Tebow's one of the greatest college players I've ever seen, period, end of story. Period. I mean, it can't be denied. And it was funny because I was having conversations with people, and somehow, so I said to one guy, he was an older guy, I won't say who, but I said, all right, I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but what does Archie Griffin have to do with Tim Tebow? And there was like dead silence. And I go, what are we doing here? Like, is it, how are we comparing a guy that won the Heisman Trophy 30 years ago to a guy that has dominated college football? I mean, and he did. Tim Tebow dominated. What does that have to do with Archie Griffin? Are we talking about who the best player in college football is? Or are we saying we don't want Tim Tebow to win because that would mean there would be a 2-time Heisman Trophy championship? But that's stupid. It's bad logic. So to me, I think you have to take it that seriously. And that's why I applaud the people in D2 that voted for you, because that wouldn't happen in D1. That simply put wouldn't happen in D1.
We're gonna come back. We're gonna come back to that.
All right.
So DeVonta Smith, right, had a great season, right? Breakout year, played well. It wasn't even the top receiver on the team starting the season. For him to fight, you think he has the same opportunity, the same type of a season if Jalen Waddle is healthy?
Nope.
Do you think Jalen Waddle wins the Heisman if he's healthy?
I think they cancel each other. Does that make sense? I really do. I think they can't.
I think this is what I think happens. If they both play, right, I think Mac wins. I think Mac Jones wins.
That's good logic. Yeah, that's good logic.
I think
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
I think Mac Jones wins because they'll cancel each other out, and they're not going to pick one receiver over the other because they're both playing at a high level. Give it to Mac Jones. That's what I think happens.
No, that's that. Yeah, you're right, because the wide receivers cancel themselves out, and all Mac Jones numbers are going to go like this. Mac Jones numbers are just going to skyrocket, and everybody's going to sit back and go, "Oh, look what Mac Jones did."
Yeah, because what people are saying is, well, if he's healthy, if Jalen Waddle's healthy, he wins it. But I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's the case.
Yeah, well, it's going to be really interesting to see how that works out. It's funny. Somebody just said, "Hey, Baligian, when's the last time you considered yourself the younger generation?" I'd say 1990, maybe 1990. No, but I mean, what happens is, all jokes aside, a lot of these voters are guys that have been voting for 40, 50 years. I mean, you gotta. There are a lot of old school broadcasters out there. Guys that are in their 60s and even into their 70s, and heck, a guy like Brent Musburger, he's 81 years old or whatever. Right. So what happens is, you get in and you stay in until you're out and everything. So I think the old school guys, I don't, to me, and everybody defines it differently, I get that, but to me it should be, who was the best player? And I don't care if you played for a 6-5 team, okay? Joique Bell was the best player. Period. And you know what? I would say that even if you were on a team that I quote unquote hate, Yeah. I mean, as a Michigan State fan or a Michigan fan, if Joique Bell plays for Ohio State, I don't care if Ohio State's 6-5.
Yeah.
The guy's dominant. To me, it's even more impressive that you're dominant on a team that was struggling. Obviously struggling in that configuration. To me, that says more about what you did, because you don't have that around you. So, if anything, I think that makes your case stronger. That's just the way that I think.
Yeah, that's just another way to look at it.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't look at it that same way. All right, just back to the Tebow.
Yeah.
And I had a question for you.
Yes, sir.
And I should have wrote it down, but actually I do have it. So that's your favorite. You think he the most dominant quarterback?
The most dominant I've ever seen. Yeah, seriously. He dominated in college, period. I mean, he was just, the national champions, you couldn't stop him in college. I mean, really, you couldn't. Now, are there guys that were more dynamic? Like Vince.
Yeah, Vince. I would say Vince.
Vince Young was more dynamic. He was. I mean, but Tim Tebow was he was unstoppable. It was, and to win the 2 national champions and all the grandiose numbers he put up, he was sick. I mean, again, say what you want about his limitations.
What numbers? You mean his winning numbers? Or winning?
Not just the winning numbers, but like his overall numbers. You know, the rushing and passing touchdowns combined. It was just, he ran a machine at Florida. He was just dominant. You know, I mean, it's just.
I remember he was a superstar before we came out. And so he was invited to the Senior Bowl. I went to the Senior Bowl, and we have this convention center where we go there, and all the players there, we have to sit down and we have to sign autographs. Tim Tebow alone had about 10,000 fans outside the convention center, and he didn't come because they said he was feeling ill. He wasn't ill. I know he just didn't want to come sign 10,000 autographs during the Senior Bowl. Like, he could have been sick, but he played in the Senior Bowl. He played in that game, so he wasn't too sick. And so, but when I remember having to be down there and have to sign all those autographs, I didn't mind it. And people ask you, do you get sick of people asking you for autographs? Do you get tired of that? And early on in my career, it would get tiresome. But I thought of it, I had to change my perspective. And it went from me feeling that way to, well, I'd rather people know me for what I do than people not know me for what I do.
Sure.
And so I changed my whole mindset, and then after that, I didn't have any issues. Got used to it. And I always like to show love to the people who support me. So shout out to all the supporters.
Here, I'll give it. Tebow had 55 total touchdowns his sophomore year. I mean, that was the year that he won the Heisman. Right. He had, 42 total touchdowns his junior year, and he had 35 his senior year. But that was the year that they were so dominant, where he would just he would leave games. He was just, all right, we're going to sit you down and everything. He was a machine. It was crazy. He had that lean. Remember when he'd run? He kind of had that lean, and he looked so upright that you're thinking to yourself, somebody's going to kill him. But he found a way to get in. It was just, I used to get pissed watching him, to be honest with you. It's like, how is he doing this? You know, but you gotta give the guy his love. He was sick in college.
Why
man.
did you used to get pissed?
I don't know, because I hated Florida. No offense, Lomas. No offense, Torrey. No offense to Kennedy. I hated Florida.
That whole 10,000 autographs and he just wouldn't sign them. Somebody commented, as Scott said, it's better to have too many people to want your autograph than nobody get your autograph at all.
Yeah, period.
Yeah. Did you guys?
You read Art?
I got it. When you looked at, and it's funny because you hear guys say this all the time. His talent isn't going to translate to the National Football League, right?
Right.
His didn't. His didn't.
It didn't.
No mistake about that.
It doesn't work.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what drove me nuts, and the next time our boy Scott Bischoff is in here, he can talk to you about it, because he and I had a conversation about Lamar Jackson when he was coming out, and how everybody was talking about how they should move Lamar. And I said to him, Scott, and if you're watching, you can vouch for this. I said, Scott, what am I missing? Why do these people that consider themselves so smart, all right, and having an eye for talent, did they watch the same guy that I watched in college? Because I watched Lamar Jackson do things with his feet. I watched Lamar Jackson do things with his agility. I also watched Lamar Jackson slit throats with his throwing ability, right? So people were saying, oh, Lamar Jackson, maybe he should think about, and you can relate to this, maybe he should think about safety in the NFL. Maybe you should try him at wide receiver. And I said to Scott, I go, Scott, am I missing something? And he goes, no. He goes, I think this is a case, people are trying to be too smart. Like, I look at this guy and I think NFL player.
You know why? Because they've never seen that type of talent. The closest talent to that you've seen is Michael Vick. At that position, doing what he's doing, you've only seen that, and to be honest, Lamar Jackson might be a little bit of a better passer than Mike Vick, and so for him to have that leg talent along with his arm talent, he's still growing up in this league. All right, he's still learning the different defenses. He's learning different disguises, how they try to disguise. So he's going to become a better quarterback. And I think he has a work ethic. I don't hear anything about his work ethic. I don't hear anything about off the field issues with Lamar Jackson. I think he has his head on the right shoulders, and I think he's going to continue to move forward and get better. And that's saying a lot about a player of his caliber.
Now, when you see guys like that, because I don't care what anybody says, you guys have a better eye for talent than we do. I mean, period. I don't have any problem saying that. When you see guys like that, when you saw Tebow down there, did you look at him and go, I don't know about this guy in the NFL? Or when you saw Lamar Jackson, did you have the same feeling that I did? Because I remember talking about it a few weeks ago, and I think it was Bill Bentley brought it up. He's like, Lamar Jackson was a stud in college. He was. And that's why, to me, I was like, am I missing something? Did you see that out of some of these guys? Is that something you were able to ascertain right away, whether a guy has it or doesn't have it?
Of watching film or playing with them?
Well, how about watching film?
Watching film, you can from college to NFL, you really don't know because they never played in the NFL yet.
Yeah.
Right. You can look at certain people and be like, oh, that guy's like. You can look at Aaron Donald, like, yeah, he's gonna be a beast. You can look at a Sue, he's gonna be a beast. A Calvin Johnson, he's gonna be a beast. You can look at those guys and tell, like, yeah. Certain guys like Lamar Jackson, I knew he would do well. I didn't know how well he would be, but he exceeded my expectations.
Sure.
My first year. And so this year, it wasn't as good as last year, but it still wasn't a bad year. It wasn't a bad year this year. It might not be MVP status, but again, we're holding him to his own standards.
That's exactly it.
Right. And
yep.
When you have a drop off from your own standard, people look at you, oh, he's not the same anymore, but he's still one of the best in the league. Great
point. Steve said, I remember he laughed at the idea of converting to wide receiver. Good for him.
Good for him.
I was dumbfounded. I oftentimes, and we're going to do a draft show pretty soon here. I know so many people said, wow, Scott's a fountain of knowledge. You have no idea. We're going to do a draft show here. I'm going to have Scott in very soon, and we're going to start doing a draft show leading up to the draft, and he'll come on with us again. That's why when things like that come up, Joique, I usually call him and go, what are the scouts thinking and what am I missing? Here's a good one. Scott, I love this. Going back, about 15 years ago, Scott said, what if Antoine Randall L. was in college today? Would he have made it in the NFL as a quarterback? My answer to that is yes. He was phenomenal at Indiana. He ended up having, obviously some time in the league as a wide receiver. But you know what? I think, Joique, and you tell me if you agree or disagree, I think minds are changing at the National Football League level now. They're looking at that ultra weapon instead of saying, why put him at wide receiver? Let's see what he can do at quarterback. Where before, as people said, nah, he's kind of an ultra back. We'll do a little bit here, a little bit there. Maybe he'll take a few snaps. Guys are getting those opportunities now in the National Football League.
You think so?
I think it's starting. I think Lamar Jackson is an example. I mean, it's years ago he wouldn't have gotten that opportunity. Seriously, years ago he wouldn't have gotten that opportunity.
All right, so tell me a person you know that's won the Heisman at a certain position and made it to the NFL and played a totally different position.
Let me rack my brain. Give me a second. I don't want to waste precious time.
I think
let's say nobody.
I think if somebody changes his position and he gets hurt, we never see Lamar Jackson quarterback MVP. We don't see that. We don't see that. You don't know what could have been because you have what they call the smartest man in the room syndrome. I think if we drop the guy at a certain position, and, it's a saying that goes out that, sometimes even if you don't need a player, you have talent, you drop talent, and you let the quarterback, you let the coaches worry about how to get them on the field. I don't think that was the case with Lamar Jackson. They drafted a quarterback, and they got a quarterback, and elite quarterback at that. So I don't.
Steve brings up a great point. He said Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a guy that would not have gotten an opportunity years ago. I mean, he would you agree with that? He looks so uncoordinated. Like, you look at him and he looks off.
But
I love watching the guy. I love you.
He makes plays.
That's the smartest man in the room.
He makes plays.
Give me the guy that makes plays. I don't give a crap what he looks like. I want the guy that makes plays. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
But the old school mentality is he doesn't look like a quarterback. Well, that's stupid.
What's the look?
What does a quarterback look like?
What is
Do you want to just put a big picture of Tom Brady or Joe Montana?
I don't
That's
know
what a quarterback should be.
Listen, Sean, I don't know what a quarterback looks like, but you put me on the field, I can tell you what a 100-yard touchdown look like. I can show you what a 1 yard dragging 5 people in the end zone, a kick returner taking a kick return, 100+ yards. I can tell you what that looks like. I can tell you make plays, you make plays. You had a guy, I forgot his first, Banks from the Redskins, 145 pounds. What are you doing in the National Football League, returning kicks? But you know what I saw? He took a return on us for like 80 yards on a punt. And relatively my fault, it was my rookie year. I was a personal protector, and I was on the sideline. They had no personal protector to call it. The ball wasn't being snapped. I had a rush out there, and he took it back 80. Couldn't catch him. It doesn't matter. You make plays, and that's period. I don't care your 40 time. If you can make play, you can make a play.
You know what's funny? See, now, Steve, you get it. He goes, that is the Baligian younger generation type quarterback. Yes. I don't understand why NFL guys think that way. I mean, trust me, I'm going to have Scott talk. I was pulling hair out of my head about Lamar Jackson. The guy was phenomenal. And you're talking about moving him? Why in the hell would you do that? Right. Josh Allen, say somebody brought up Mahomes. You got to remember, okay, what the media has turned Patrick Mahomes into and what Patrick Mahomes was coming out of college to a lot of different people are two different things, okay? You got to remember, Patrick Mahomes he went 9, right? And there were people that thought, what are the Kansas City Chiefs doing? What are you doing taking this guy at 9? I mean, there were people out there that thought that. Nobody will admit that now because there are very few of us in this business that have the balls to sit back and say, boy, I missed on that. I never want to be that guy. I want to be the first guy that calls me out if I'm wrong about something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But nobody will admit that now. But there were a lot of people that thought that they were crazy for taking Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it's weird how that works, isn't it?
And it's funny because it was only befitting that he got the contract that he did, considering that he gave up a baseball contract.
Yeah.
So he signed a baseball contract in the NFL, right? I mean, the only thing that's different is not all guaranteed, but he signed a baseball contract in the NFL, and he gave up on MLB on a bigg's contract. So, hey, I like him.
Yeah.
And you can't teach that type of arm talent, man. He's a talented.
Can't do it.
You can't teach it.
He's, and that's the difference between a guy like Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Although in some ways they have a similar skill set. You watch Patrick Mahomes throw, and come on, okay? While Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen aren't going to look as pretty, you know what? You don't see a P next to, you brought up a great point. You don't see a P for pretty next to 80-yard touchdown. You know what you see? Mahomes to Watson for 80 yards.
Yeah.
Jackson to Joique, 80 yards. There's no style points there, man. You don't get an extra point for being pretty.
Yeah, and then he has his own style, right? He has his own style. And then you have what Lamar lacks in his arm, he can make up in his legs.
Yep.
Patty, he doesn't have that like Lamar, but he has some, right? His leg, I would compare his leg talent to like Aaron Rodgers. That's the type of leg talent he has. But his arm talent is.
He can do enough. He can do enough to, what's the word I'm looking for? Keep you honest, right?
Is that the best?
Keep you honest.
Keep you honest. And that's the best way to phrase it.
I think I've told you this before. I have always been amazed at Ben Roethlisberger, okay? Because he is so big. And nobody's ever going to confuse him with Lamar Jackson. Nobody's ever going to confuse him with Aaron Rodgers. But that ability that giant target has, just to take that little slide step to evade pressure,
that's all you need.
You can't teach that. You can't. And that to me, that isn't said enough because Ben Roethlisberger is a mountain of a man. I mean, he is a massive man.
Yeah, too bad they won't last too long.
Yeah. It's amazing he's been able to last as long as he has.
I'm not even talking about him. I'm talking about this team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It won't last long.
Yeah.
It won't last long.
Yeah.
The defense played well, though. the defense play well, they'll have a shot to be in the games, though.
Steve said, I have the leg talent of Peyton Manning. Yeah, that's
about right.
I'm really intrigued to see, because for years, Joique, we saw, and he's obviously one of the best we've ever seen. You can speak to that better than I can because you played with him. But we saw those, upright quarterbacks, those drop back quarterbacks. It's starting to change a little bit, right? You need yourself a little mobility, right?
You need some. You need some back there. So with I would say he was probably the most players that when he played the game, he was a perfectionist. So I remember we were in practice and we'll go through this thing called strip drills during individuals. So individuals kind of when you go with your coach and you'll work on just, I guess, position specific drills. And so this particular drill, which we call a strip, where we just go through handoffs with the quarterback. And so we'll have our running back coach stand at the aiming point, and we'll go there every single time. He wants the running back to have the same angle, same speed every single time. Every running back is not going to have the same speed going to the hole. But he wants us to have the exact same because it's Peyton Manning. We ran the same. And usually we'll go through one handoff going one way one time. Just, go to the other side, do another one. We stayed on this same drill for about 10 minutes on the same handoff in practice. And he will go off on the coach. Get over here and coach your running backs. I'm not getting paid enough for this. They'll get into it with the running back coach. Running back coach will lead the aiming point, go stand in the back. We'll go through another. Keep going through it. He said, after about 5 minutes go by, he'll look back at the coach. Quit acting like a bee and get up here and coach your running back. I'm like, wow, they talk to the coach. And I'm a rookie, so I'm thinking like this is just how it is in the NFL. Like I'm looking at my guy like this is how they talk to the coaches. This is how they talk to the coaches. And who was the other running back with me? James, who was back there with me. The one that went to the U.
Edgerrin James?
That was his cousin. He had a younger cousin.
I don't remember.
Who went to the U.
Okay.
So anyway, he was like, yeah, that's how they do it here. And by this time, this is my second team. I had been to Buffalo, I had been to Philly, then I got to the Colts. And so playing with Peyton, he's a perfectionist guy, but when it comes to being athletic, not at all.
Yeah, right.
Not at all. I feel like sometimes when he ran, I feel like he was running in sand. I feel like, as a matter of fact, he was running in 5 feet of water. Like, it's just none. Absolutely none. It was all, somebody blitz. It wasn't trying to move. I got a hot. Get it out quick. And he was smart enough to know he played to all his strengths.
Isn't it amazing? That's why so many people, like just hearing you tell us this story, that's why so many people talked about getting Peyton out of sync. How many times did you hear that? If I had a dime for the amount of times I heard that in my life, you know why the Patriots have success? They do just little subtle things to get him off that sync because everything's about timing, it sounds like, with Peyton.
Everything's about timing. And then with him, he's so smart, right? And he will hold coaches accountable. And I never knew, like, how do you hold a coach accountable?
Yeah.
And so Jim Bob Cooter would say that if they were watching film on a team that they were about to play, he would say, well, in this coverage, they never do this. I've never seen it. They never do this. And he said you have to watch what you say around Peyton because he'll hold you to it. I don't even know who sits down and watches this much film, but he goes to a high school. He gets hold of a high school film, right? Goes to the third quarter and sees the same defensive coordinator who used to coach at this high school, see him run the same coverage, but he did this in that coverage, and he'll go back and say, hey, yo, go back to 2002 to the high school film of this defensive coordinator, go to the third quarter and watch the 43rd play. And
do you think that
what you're like, wait, what?
Dude, right?
And he
Dude.
held coaches. So he held coaches accountable. And so that's very rare. It's like a polar bear. Like you hear about it, but you don't see it too often.
You know what I want to get into, and he's one of your boys. and we were talking about this yesterday when Chad Johnson was on the show with us. The whole Hall of Fame thing, okay? And I'm going to say it again. I'm a snob. I wish I could close Pandora's box and take out the good guys. We can't, okay? So we have to go by the definition of Hall of Fame, which isn't Hall of Fame today. But Calvin Johnson is one of those guys, no-brainer. We talked about it just yesterday. Calvin Johnson is a Hall of Fame football player. End of story, okay? Little did we know that later that day after we had this conversation, Calvin is one of the finalists, okay? And Joique, I don't want to say anything that's going to get you in any kind of trouble or anything like that, okay? Even though I have a pretty strong feeling that you agree with me, but I'm going to say this.
Get me in trouble?
Rod Wood, you've done so many good things for the Detroit Lions. You have repaired a lot of fractured relationships with the Detroit Lions. I respect you, Rod. I respect Rod Wood. I'll tell all of you guys that. I think Rod Wood gets it, okay? Rod knows that there were mistakes made by this franchise in the past that they have had to fix. And Joique, to that point, you and I have talked a lot about a lot of the former players who spilled blood, who gave part of their health to this franchise that now feel welcome. Detroit Lions, you have one more wrong to fix. You have one more wrong to fix. Give the man his money back. Just give him his money back. This should be a moment that's celebrated by everybody in this area, that is celebrated by Calvin, that is celebrated by Rod Wood and Sheila Ford Hemp and everybody. This should be a Detroit Lions moment, okay? Make this right. Yeah. Make it right. And I don't have $1 million to give Calvin Johnson. You know, if you're one of those people that's saying, well, that's easy for you to say, it's not your $1 million. Well, you're absolutely right. You guys have many millions of dollars, and I'm sorry. To me, Joique, the price of giving a man back his money, what you get in return, is infinitely more than writing that check for $1 million. Wow. Give him his money back. End this now. He'll come back to the family. Everybody will be happy. This is something that should be celebrated. End it now. So that's my message to the Lions. How's that? Is that all right?
It is. It is. I think what you're saying has some truth to it. Now, where they get the money from? Do they pull it from the team bank account? Do they pull it from the owner?
I don't know.
Do they do something to where, you know, that they give him something yearly until all of it's paid back, and you know, where it's not stressing the team out financially? But I think some way, some shape or form, we somehow we have to do some reprimanding. We have to. I think Calvin's too big to this organization, not just to the city, but to every Lion fan. He's done things that really put Detroit on the map. Understand that Detroit gave him an opportunity, but he made the most of the opportunity, and he was able to bring some pride to this community. He's giving back to the community. He still lives in the community, and I would hate to see him here and for this relationship that was once so strong and so promising to end like that. You know, to someone who came in and kind of I ain't gonna say took advantage, but just kind of, I guess, didn't know the worth he meant to like this entire this entire pool, like not just the team, not just the city, but to every Lion fan, the whole state. The things that he's doing, it has to be fixed.
Yep.
I don't know how, but it will.
Somebody brings up a hot take. Scott says, I'd offer to donate to a charity of Calvin's choosing, but he didn't fulfill the terms of his contract. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
So this is what happened, all right? Calvin could have came back, all right? They're not going to cut Calvin. All right? Calvin could have came back, and they would have owed him $16.5 million. And even if he, came to off-season workouts and he went through training camp, and they're not letting Calvin go. He could have came back and not practiced Wednesday or Thursday and just practice on Fridays and just played on Sundays if that's what he wanted to do, right? Because Calvin is the player who his work ethic was so hard that if he's just on the field, if he was healthy enough just to be on the field, he would have made a difference. He would have pulled another guy out the box. It was games he played where he wasn't healthy, but you can tell he wasn't healthy by the way he played, because he's just that far ahead of his opponents. And so when we spoke in September, the year that he was debating whether he was going to retire, he said it wasn't about the money. He'd rather give the money back to the team so they can go out and get more players that can help them win, to leave a legacy of him just taking money and not playing. That's the type of man you're dealing with. So you have a man that's willing to say, I'm not going to come back, I'm going to let you keep this money just so let's come up with a deal. And then once you guys get what you want, you go back after this guy. It shows the type of integrity you have, right? That's what it shows. And it looks bad on our part, and that's not the type of culture we have here. That's not the type of culture we want to have here. And that's why I'm saying you have to make it right with them.
Here's the thing, and I'm not going to name any names, and you probably know this infinitely better than I do. There have been guys that have stayed here and have collected that last year of contract and mailed it in. There have been guys. And it's not exactly a secret to a lot of guys in the room who those guys are, okay? And that's that's a guy saying, hey, I got my contract, I'm going to do this. I think was it Steve brought this up. Steve brought up a great point. Whether we want to admit it or not, there is a narrative about the Detroit Lions, okay? And I talk about it a lot on this show, okay? There is a narrative that the Ford family is cheap, okay?
No.
I don't agree with that. They've paid a lot of money to general managers and head coaches in here and kept paying bad general managers and head coaches. They've spent up to the cap like we've talked about, okay? No, recently they have. Recently they have.
So that's what they might have said, they were cheap before, but then that they're forced not to be cheap.
You get my point.
And it's not even the four, it's the people that's over it. If they can take more, if you hire me, right, if you hire me, and I'm coming to work for you, and my job for you is to supervise and to run a business for you, right? And this is business, right? I'll come in, I run your business. I have to pay these players a certain amount, or these people who work for you a certain amount of money. If I can pay these people to get the job done while at the same time taking some of that money that I didn't spend and putting it back into your pocket, and we're winning still, I'm going to have my job longer because I'm helping you out on both ends.
Sure.
You're having your cake and you're eating it too, right? And so it was at that point to where when I found out that teams were only spending, not just the Lions, but teams around the league. Some teams were going over the salary cap. Some teams were about 88%, only doing 88% of the salary cap, and the other 12% going back into, either back into the owner's pocket or wherever they might, I don't know where it's going. I just know we're not getting it as players, right? And so that might be where the terms owners are cheap coming in, and not just the Lions, just around the league in general.
So then you understand, if you want to change the narrative that's out there, okay? The narrative is they don't care, they're cheap, all of those things. You want to change the narrative? Yeah. Well, you're already starting to do it by bringing the old guys in, right? You're already starting to bring the guys in from the 80s, from the 90s. And I'll tell you again, Joique, and you've probably had conversations with these guys as well. Guys have told me to my face, I just thought they didn't give a bleep. I just thought, okay, you're a piece of meat. We feel welcome coming back.
You're winning on all ends, though.
Bam! And that's what I'm saying.
You have people like you. People like you who love, Billy Sims.
Yep.
Right. Bringing Billy back for guys like you, you're like in the candy.
Yep.
Right.
Benny Blades. Do you know how great it was to say? Like I told him, Benny.
Your favorite player.
I never thought I'd see Benny Blades back at a Lions game. Never. Because there was a lot of bitterness, and there was the "you don't care about us" type of stuff.
But it seems like it's a history, though, because Kevin comments and said that they did the same BS to Barry, too.
You got it. And that's why, to me, the point that Steve brought up, you want to change a narrative, and Mr. Wood has done a really good job of improving, the kind of PR stuff. You want to change the narrative? Write a check today.
Yeah.
Write a check.
But if they're worth $1 billion, why don't they just do that?
Put it on Twitter. Put a check on Twitter and saying,
this is what I like about
Calvin
Rob.
Johnson, my bad. Congratulations on your nomination to the Football Hall of Fame. And there you are holding your check, Joique.
This is how I feel about Ryder Woods, man. He is a man that puts action behind his words.
I'm a big fan of Rod.
Right. He puts action behind his words. And for instance, when I tell you, back when this country went through that huge, I guess racial
disharmony.
Like when we were going through that, right, and the country was in an uproar, and rightfully so. And as a person in a city where it's predominantly black, and we might feel it's over-policed, but I wanted to do something to kind of bring everybody together. When I reached out to Rod Wood with what I was trying to do, with the team I was trying to do it with, and I said, listen, we're trying to set up a march, and it's more so of we want to bring you guys in. We're going to need some support because we can't fight this battle alone. We need you guys with us. We're going to need your platform. We're going to need that. And he no hesitation. Whatever you need, let us know. Whatever you need. I spoke with Bob Quinn. He called me. We had an intense conversation about what was going on and why they waited so long to I guess put out an official quote. And I appreciated his answer. I appreciated it because he wanted to sit down with the players that were in that locker room and get their take on what was going on, to the point to where they were canceling practices just to be able to have these conversations with the team to talk about what was going on in this country, because it was important to him. And so he even said that me growing up where I was from, he said I was a white kid growing up. I didn't grow up with too many black people, so I never really saw this. I was sheltered from what was really going on, and I wanted to make sure that if we put out something, it was going to be something real and not, I guess, he didn't want to imitate anything. He wanted it to be organic. He wanted it to be real. And I think when they put out their statement, I think it was very clear where they stood. And it wasn't generic. It was real. And I felt that from them, and I appreciated that from them. And they came out. Coach Patricia came out. I was able to talk with him briefly. And this is around the time we really didn't know what was going to happen with training camp.
Sure.
But we were supposed to have another sit down, because what they wanted to do was bring some type of diversity inclusion department to the team.
Yeah. And
they wanted me to kind of help be a part of that, to try to bring some more awareness to and more outreach to the community. And so that was something that was in the works, but we never got a chance to have that sit down. The season came around, things got busy, things started to pick up for them, things started to pick up for me. But I always kept in contact with Rod throughout the process. And so hopefully Rod still wants to do that, and I have no problem, no issue with doing some things like that. But Rod is definitely a man of his word, and he puts action behind it as well. So
I agree. Listen, we need to take a quick break. When we come back, we got to talk about what's going on at Michigan, or should I say what isn't going on at Michigan. Some people have an issue with what Coach Harbaugh is or isn't doing in this case.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it. I'll tell you why when we come back. Don't go anywhere. He's Joique Bell. I'm Sean Baligian. Don't forget, you got an extra hour of me today. I'm going to have Dave Hubbard and Mike Ivesel in there. We are going to have our first show. It's called The Smoke Show. It's just a show about, smoking things. And those guys prepared a brisket. I helped yesterday, but those guys finished it this morning. So we're going to have that in a little bit as well. Don't go anywhere.
We wake up every day with a choice. Keep going down the same unfulfilling path, or start chasing the life we dream about. At Northwestern Tech, we want to make that choice easier. by allowing you to keep working your job while training for a real career in heating and cooling. And our hands-on program is only 10.5 months. So getting in the field and building a career and actually waking up with a purpose could be a lot easier than you think. Northwestern Tech, the HVAC school that works.
Welcome to Grow Green, the green standard for garden supplies here in Michigan over the past 10 years. We offer the best gardening and lawn care products and have an extremely knowledgeable staff to help you create your dream garden or make your yard the envy of the neighborhood. Shop the store located in Whitmore Lake or online at growgreenmi.com. Delivery and curbside pickup available. Grow Green, making Michigan greener one grower at a time.
All right, welcome back in. Glad you can join us. It is the Baligian and Bell Show. He's Joique Bell.
I'm Joique Bell.
He's Joique Bell. Young Kennedy, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sean Baligian. We're glad that you could join us. Art at the board as well. Always appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, let me just bring this up to you. Coming up at a little bit after 1 today because we got to transition out of this. I'm going to have 2 of my boys in here. My buddy is a butcher and a chef. My other buddy, we have been cooking and smoking things for 30 plus years. We're going to do a little show every Wednesday called The Smoke Show. So that's something that we're going to be interested in. Joique, you've never looked better. I got to be honest with you. You look really good today. So it's a pleasure to see you. Joique, you look like you could still play today.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about this Harbaugh stuff? You know, is he going to sign? Is he not going to sign? You have some people. To me, I don't. You're in a position where you can do that. I don't have a problem with it. I know some Michigan fans, because you know how Michigan fans are right now, okay? Yeah. A lot of Michigan fans are saying, screw that guy, it hasn't worked. A lot of Michigan fans are saying, no, let's keep on course. This is a guy that will eventually get us there. But then now you have a whole new group of people that say, well, if he doesn't want to commit to us, screw it and everything. To me, all right, I don't think there's any issue. And this is one of the things that's being alleged. There's no issue with him sitting there saying, let me see what the NFL has to say.
Let me see my options.
Yep.
Now, did you hear this rumor that he's looking at the Jets?
Yes.
And that
there's a lot out there.
Right, and that he wants to go there? Is this and if so, why do you think the Jets out of all places?
Jim Harbaugh is a smart man, and I mean that, okay? And even though I've taken a lot of shots at Jim Harbaugh for, who's got it better than us, and, the Harbaugh train is going to take over and win multiple titles, and they haven't won anything. Jim Harbaugh is a smart man. He knows what he's doing. So with that being said, Joique, that's why I don't put any validity into the Jets rumors. No. I don't. The only way the Chargers, I could see that. You got the young quarterback there. You're in LA. There are so many. Because I like Herbert. I think Herbert's a pretty damn good quarterback. You got nothing in New York. Why would he go to New York?
That's what I'm saying.
Why would you do it?
The only way I could see him going to New York or the Chargers if he gets a Gruden contract. That's the only way I see it.
They're going to spend. You know it as well as I do.
That's the only way I see it. Chad.
Dude, I'm a player. Okay, listen, if I'm a player right now, I'm pissed at the mad money that's being thrown around for coaches. Like, I'm serious.
Players game.
I am pit banned.
It's the players game.
Wait, did you hear the rumor that came out? $18 million was the rumor for Urban Meyer down in Jacksonville. $18 million. Now, we've had a couple people come out and say, it's not that much, but it's a hell of a lot. If I'm a player who's out there spilling blood, who's out there literally giving years of my life to this game, I'm pissed off. Mm-hmm. What's going on in your mind?
I don't know, man. The coaches, they go through they're not out there, but they go through a lot now.
No question about it.
They go through a lot. Now, I'm not going to say it's worth $18 million, but they have to run an entire team, 60-something different personalities that they have to keep together in a room. A team that they have to put together to bring you more money. You got to think, if you pay a coach $18 million to make your franchise, you know, $800 million or $1 billion franchise or more, I think it's worth it. You know, I mean, with a proven track record, and I don't know if that method is going to work in the NFL. Right? I don't know, but it might. You don't know.
Here's the biggest question. I mean, to the people that have wondered aloud, has some of the shine come off the Jim Harbaugh star? I would say absolutely not. I mean, look, it hasn't worked at Michigan. He's had good teams. He had one really good team, okay? But they haven't beaten Ohio State.
They got to get rid of that coordinator.
They haven't won their division yet. They haven't won the Big Ten yet. He took them up a level. That can't be denied. Okay, even after a disastrous year like this, and please don't use COVID as an excuse. I'm getting tired of hearing it. COVID affected everybody. Okay, it wasn't just
everybody's playing through the same thing. We're all on the same playing field.
It wasn't just a Jim Harbaugh and Michigan thing. It affected everybody. That is a weak excuse, and I've heard way too many people and people that I respect.
I'm gonna tell you this.
Use that as bullshit.
It's two people in the world. I tell my son this all the time. Chad knows as well. It's two people in this world. People who get it done and people who don't get it done.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
There's no in between.
And to me, it drives me absolutely nuts to hear those excuses. But with that being said, because there's so much smoke around Jim Harbaugh's name, that tells me everything I need to know. Jim Harbaugh is still a name. Jim Harbaugh is still a commodity.
It is.
And there were so many people, like I saw, John Bacon's a guy. John Bacon's been covering Michigan football. I got a lot of respect for him. He's written some books and everything. So you take a look at what he's saying on Twitter, and one of the things he said, he's like, all right, he's in California. We'll find out what happens early this week. Well, it's Wednesday. He was vacationing. It's Wednesday now. And people are going, well, when's Harbaugh going to decide? If I'm Jim Harbaugh, I take my sweet time.
Take your sweet time.
If I got L.A. calling me, and I got the Jets calling me, and I have 3 or 4 different. It's almost like the conversation we had about free agency. Okay.
You think the Lions take a look at him?
Oh, I think they should have a conversation. 100%. Dude, I'm a do your due diligence guy. Yeah. Even if you know full well, I'm looking at Joique Bell and I go, I don't think Joique Bell's right for my team. Am I going to have a conversation with you? Hell yeah.
They do that with players all the time.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'll tell you this. I get a call from Green Bay. This is when I leave the Lions.
Oh, if you went to Green Bay?
I get a call from Green Bay. I go there. I work out. They have 2 other running backs. They had a DN and they had a safety. I kill the workout. I go into the room with the scout, and he tells me, he said, my guy, he's like, you don't look like you're 30. Usually guys get 30 and they look like they lose a step, but you look really good. I said, I appreciate it. I said, so what do I sign? He said, yeah, the coach want to go younger. Now, why'd you bring me in?
Yeah, why the hell would you?
Why would you waste my time? I got up and left.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, take me to the airport.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, no, I don't. What?
My
age. No, if they would have told me they thought, you looked a little slow, or you don't look as explosive anymore. You lost a step. That would have been different. But don't tell me I came in, I killed the workout, and that the coach wanted to go younger. My age was my age when I got on that flight to come here.
Age ain't nothing but a number.
Right. Yeah, that's what she said.
R. Kelly joke in there somewhere. I'll leave it alone.
No.
No, I'll leave it alone.
No, none of that here. None of that.
It's not my fault. He did it. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh, they say he did that. Oh, he did that.
He did.
Yeah. You ever seen? It's not funny. Have you guys seen Power? Have you seen Power at all? No. You never seen Power?
No.
Oh my God. Yeah, she watches it. All right, but it was a scene on there with Ghost had got popped, and his son thought, you think my dad did it? He was talking to 50 Cent. He was like, hey, and they say he did that shit. He did that shit.
No, you know what? But Joique, I kind of liken this to Jim Harbaugh. There's a window of opportunity, okay? And look, it hasn't worked at Michigan the way that people thought it was going to work. It's been good. That's been part of the problem. It was supposed to be great.
I don't think they have the talent, man.
Why did you bring Jim Harbaugh in, though? He was supposed to bring the talent in. He was supposed to have the recruiting classes. He was supposed to be the guy, that lived who's got it better than us and the signing of the stars, and it hasn't worked. I mean, that's why he was brought in. I mean, right or wrong, and I agree with you, there is a talent issue there. But right or wrong, we've watched, for example, I watched Michigan State win the Big Ten twice. One time while he was coaching at Michigan with quote-unquote less talent. Now, as a Spartan fan, I'm loving life for that. As a Michigan fan, that's got to piss you off. Yeah. Because, their little brother, they don't have the recruiting classes that we do and everything. So I kind of like it.
Why, though? Why? Because he's such a mastermind when it comes to recruiting. So I remember, I sent you the name, Daryl Graham. So I think Ohio State teamed up with Rutgers one year to have a football camp in the offseason because this is when they had you can only have a certain amount of camps in the summertime. And so he teamed up with Rutgers.
All right.
Same day, same time as Michigan was meeting up with another school, right? And so it was Ohio State and Rutgers. I think they were together using his field, and they were trying to get them to switch dates, and they didn't want to do it. And so Harbaugh reached out to another 2 colleges in the area, and they also brought out the Baltimore Ravens coaching staff because his brother was there, and took a lot of the players from that camp and brought them to his. Like, he's just a mastermind when it comes to recruiting. So I don't know why they're not getting the type of talent, world-class talent as other
McCarty
schools.
and I talked about this a few weeks ago in our other job. As an outsider, I'm not a Michigan fan, okay? So I can't speak with my heart with this. I'm going to think about my brain. I can't understand why it hasn't worked. Darren, you and I, Darren McCarty's in now. I don't, Joique, I'm the same way. I thought everything came together. You got a guy that gets Michigan. You got a guy that can go out there and recruit for Michigan. You have a guy that had let's put it this way. His best season as a college coach was at Stanford with a less than recruiting class. Now, it helped that he had a guy like Andrew Luck. That was part of the recruiting class. But overall, like the
that's what he needs.
The aggregate number of his recruiting class was 46. That's the best team he's had in college football. They went 11-1 and finished 4 in the nation.
I'm going to ask you this. How good is his quarterback?
He has not had a good quarterback. But let me throw this at you. That's one of the things that, in my opinion, has affected him, because there were people in this town that used the term, he's the quarterback whisperer. You can bring Jake Rudock in. Look how Jake Rudock improved at Iowa. What's he going to do for the kid that he brings in from Benton Harbor? What's he going to do for the kid? And you know what? That quarterback whisperer stuff hasn't worked because he has not had a good quarterback. I mean, period. I mean, Shea Patterson. There were people that were talking about Shea Patterson, right? The kid that transferred from Ole Miss.
Okay.
There were kids that were talking about Shea Patterson going, oh, you put him with Jim Harbaugh, he's going to win 2 Heismans. And you hear that stuff from fans all the time. But his quarterback whisperer stuff, it hasn't happened. He has not developed a good quarterback.
Here's my question. Why would you want to bring Harbaugh in when he hasn't performed for Michigan? I mean, what is going to be the big difference between college and professional?
You know what I think? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I think he has success in the NFL.
Yep.
That's why.
He turned around that Niner team so quickly, and he did it with a quarterback that a lot of people, and we've had this conversation, Joique, we can have it again. A lot of people want to knock Colin Kaepernick, right? They don't think he's a quarterback in this league. He quarterbacked that team to the Super Bowl.
Do you think he could do that with the Lions when you look at his recent performance in Michigan, moving to, going to the Detroit Lions? Do you think he could turn a team around that's had so many troubles?
I would have reservations, personally. I would have just one man's opinion.
Do you think he would do good with the Jets if he goes with the Jets?
Here's the thing.
What's the difference between the Jets and the
exactly.
Lions right now?
Here's the thing. What my reservations don't mean anything, because there are people out there that are a lot smarter than me that write paychecks that are willing to bring a guy like Jim Harbaugh in. So what I think, the front row seat that we've had for what Michigan hasn't done, it isn't in play here. I mean, it just isn't. There's a Jim Harbaugh reputation, and Joique, I think you hit on it. A lot of people think that he's NFL coach as opposed to a college coach,
I
for whatever it's worth. Now, I don't know if that's true, but
I agree with
know there
you.
are a lot of people out there that feel that way.
I agree with you. I think you have. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Our opinions don't matter, right?
Yep.
But you have a guy who's watched this game for decades. You know football, right? You have a guy who's played this game for decades, and then you have a guy that plays with a mouse all day. But nobody cares what he thinks.
It's actually it's a controller, but that's okay.
A mouse.
Let me help Art out for a minute.
Yeah.
Because
you have a
you
guy.
know what it is? Let me help Art out for a minute.
I'm gonna switch the camera view. I'll be
go.
right back.
You know what? Here, hold on. I got to set it.
D-Mac.
But, hey, the difference, teaching versus coaching.
Yeah,
And
right.
NFL versus college or whatever else, all right?
We're gonna pivot here. We're gonna pivot here. So we see your guys here, right? You said they had some type of smoke.
You know what we did yesterday? I'm going to see if these guys
Do they
are
have
in
it for
there.
me today? Cause I want to try it out.
Dude, they made something special for you.
I know.
Yeah.
Do they have it
You
here?
and Kennedy, there's a little something for you. There's Mike. There's Chef Dave. And they're coming in right now. So yesterday, look at that. Bring that up here, Mike. Bring that up here. We're gonna have our first. Look at Mac. Look at that. That's a Barker's Beauty right there. Darren McCarty, the Barker's Beauty. Get that middle camera on so we can get a look at that cow. So yesterday, Joique, what we did is we all met at the butchery on Orchard Lake, and we prepared the brisket before the show started, right? Because as we've talked about, you and I talked about this. If I'm gonna barbecue for you and Grammy Whammy, you got to give me some time. It's going to take me 10 hours to get some stuff done. You know what I mean? At least.
I smell it.
Depending on what I'm doing. So yesterday, we all got together. We decided that we were going to do a brisket. It's my personal favorite. I'm a brisket guy. So we decided we were going to join forces. What is that right there, Dave? Sure. So we decided we were going to do some. We decided we were going to do a brisket for our first show, and then because Dave knows you and Kennedy are of the vegan persuasion, he made some. Here, Mac. Yeah. Pass it to.
Oh, my God.
And then as you get down, it goes from steak to pastrami. Oh, that's my favorite. You know that. I knew you. So, we have some tofu burnt ends for you.
Oh.
How's that sound?
Tofu burnt ends?
Yeah.
Turfu. I gotta try it. I don't know what it is.
I'm going to try it. I'm all about meat, but I've got to try it.
You gotta try it. He makes it. Is that it right there?
Chef Dave.
It's in the cooler.
It's in the cooler.
We're gonna wait.
Oh, go hide. Okay. Okay. He's hiding. He's hiding.
Today we will be doing the brisket.
That's
From
exactly
our
it.
cow, we named him Chuck.
Dave, come here. Come on up here, Dave. This is Chef Dave. This is Mike, one of my old buddies. We have been doing crap like this 30 years. Seriously, we've been. Yeah, come on up on the mic.
Poor
Yep,
Chuck.
yep.
Yep, sorry about that.
Poor Chuck.
We have been
30
doing crap
years.
like this for like 30 years, right?
Absolutely.
Chef Dave is a guy who's been a chef and a butcher for 712 years, okay?
Like
the brisket. Point to everybody what. Look at Mac. He's a Barker
Right
Beauty,
in
all
there.
right.
Right.
So it's got that pectoral muscle, right? So it kind of got some muscle working out there, so it's pretty lean, right? So there's not a lot of action going on there, not a lot of fat, just a little bit on the cap. But so we gotta cook that bad boy for a long time to get it nice and
Here comes
soft.
Mike's first question of the day for Joique. Where's the tofu come from? Which
this
part
one?
of the cow?
Radio silence.
For the grass?
Mike,
It does not come from
grass,
the
then
cow,
he
but I'm
poops it
trying.
Not even
Tried
1
it.
o'clock
Okay.
to pick us out.
Okay.
Absolutely. He makes it. I'm trying it.
Now the funny
Gotcha.
thing about brisket, like here's the history of brisket. It used to be like a cheap meat, okay?
Bingo.
And what
Yeah.
people found out,
I'm gonna dip out and get this
what
food
people
ready.
found out, a lot of time it's like that old school. It's the poor people's meat. What they found out
what?
is if you cook it, no
What's the
BS.
poor people mean?
It's just a tough cut of it's a tough cut of meat, and it's going to be cheap for you to get it. But what people found out is
What people found out is the poor people were smart. You cook that low and slow, that is some of the best meat you're ever going to get. So a few years back, brisket was everywhere and it was cheap. Now, people found out through smoking and finding things out from their Grammy Whammy, for example.
Right.
Finding things out. Brisket prices have gone like this because everybody knows the gift it is if you do it right for 12 hours.
I'm gonna tell you right now, that is the science of supply and demand.
You got it. That's exactly it.
Exactly what it is.
That's exactly it.
And then someone did it right, nice and low and slow. And
So
boom.
you're going to have to come over the next time we have a big barbecue.
Yeah.
Mac was over. Mac's a wings guy. Shocker, huh? Yeah, Darren's a wings guy. What a stunner. No, but you know what? We made a bunch of different wings. We had a big pig. We had a 23-pound brisket that we blew away like that. I mean, people were just all about the brisket and everything. So we'll do
There
a big
wasn't
barbecue.
any left. There wasn't any left when I got there.
When he
But I
got
got my
there.
wings,
No
though.
left.
Hey, Caribbean jerk
what was
wings
this?
were great.
We did it in October over my place. We picked a college
I-
football Saturday. Because I
I
was
got the
off of
pan.
Wayne State.
Right.
I said, everybody come over. We started
maybe I
at my
got
house. Like,
There was a little bit.
I kid you not. I started at 8 o'clock on Friday night.
Right.
And so I told people, you come over whenever you want. Dave and Mike were at my house at 6 in the morning. Mac and one of his friends came about 7 hours later. But what happened is during the day, so many people showed up. And like Mac said, the brisket, that was the home. Everybody ate the brisket. Brisket was gone by the time he got there.
Oh.
So I'll make sure. Don't worry. I'll hook my
I'm not gonna lie to you. When you started talking and then he put this tofu,
Try that.
you're not. That's mine.
He scratch made that sauce. That sauce is all Dave Hubbard. Now,
Kennedy, get in there. You have to. This is that stuff. You two are the two vegans, so you have to try that.
That's like, you sure that's not like a meat something in there?
I know. You tell you?
Does it taste like meat?
Well,
so it did what, I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. Make it kind of the texture and the taste like it's
The
meat.
smoke. You taste the smoke.
How would you
So-
do that?
Huh? This guy right here.
you get it in your nasal, right? Like
Yeah.
you get the
Just the
taste
smoke.
comes, fills your mouth.
So you cook this on the smoker?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's tofu too.
Yeah, he took the cubes of tofu, put it in the smoker, scratch made the sauce, then we put it back on. We warmed it up again today. So it's just been kind of marrying in all of it.
How long did you smoke it?
Dave, how long did that get smoked?
That got smoked for about 4 hours. 2 hours, and then we glazed it, and then 2 more hours.
All right,
Also, you're
yours
going
over
in
there.
for another one. It's that good.
Sean, you always say that it's the hardest or whatever. Like
It is. Yeah, it is.
but so finally, how did you get over the hump? What is the hump that you run into? Because you said because of low and slow, and I always ask you.
Yeah.
And you always say that leave the meat alone.
Yep.
And stuff. But was there a moment because you always got to a point and you were never happy?
No, you know what? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll tell you when we come back. How's that? Is that cool? Are we out of here now for the day?
No,
All right,
we're going to
well,
wrap
here-
up and then we'll do the smoke show.
Then we're going to come back and smoke show and we'll talk about this and we'll all hang out here. Thank you for joining us right now. We're going to eat and make you all jealous. But you know what the beauty is of barbecue? And this is why we're doing this show? We're going to show you. We're going to show you how. Bye.
Yeah.